Hi there, I am Laina Orlando, and I want to invite you to participate in the free workshops that I offer every Wednesday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. These have been going on for months now, and it is an opportunity for you to really truly understand what Ascension is all about. We're in the middle of an ascension. What that means is that those who have ears to hear and eyes to see what is real ultimately are going to be able to move through a very uncomfortable period with peace in their hearts. To ascend is to accept our divinity. It is a merging our humanity with our divinity in such a way that we walk among each other, walk upon this planet in the world, but not of it. Just as Jesus taught us 2,000 years ago. When he spoke the words, I and the Father are one, he also was saying each and every one of us is one with that Father, Mother, God. What that means is that there is a holy divinity inside each and every one of us. But when we come into this planet as a child and we are raised to believe that God is outside of us and we are not God and we are sinners, there's something wrong with us, we begin to form an identity. I'll call it our egoic identity that holds for ourselves an identity filled with beliefs that are simply not true. That we are separate from the Father, Mother, God, that we are less than, that we are sinners, that there's something wrong with us, that we're not enough. Because we have all been conditioned to believe that we are just human beings, trying to make it through another day, we have denied our divinity, which is the source of power that allows us to remember not only how powerful we are, how powerful everyone is, but how good each and every one is. When we remember our divinity, by understanding that God is a God of love, it is a source, it is the creative source that empowers. It's the intelligence that is pure energy from which everything that is formed comes from. It is the formless substance behind all that is physical, all that is known as form. Einstein said E equals mc squared. Energy, the formless, is the matter that we see. It is what we are believing that we are. For thousands of years, humanity has been stuck in a lower level of consciousness, a lower frequency, where we've been listening to the voice of our ego. We've been listening to the I'm not good enough, I'll never amount to much, only the lucky ones succeed, only the 1%, I'm part of the 99%. So we have bought into this collective delusion that some are better than others. The ascension is a return to the awareness that we're all equal. So when we return to the ascension, through the ascension process, to the idea that we're all equal, that is going to be very upsetting to those who think that they are better, and it's going to be very confusing to those who think that they are less. Those of us who have had the ears to hear, have had the eyes to see what's been going on, we understand that there is an incredible level of separation that is taking place on the planet. We call it a bifurcation. When things bifurcate, there is a division, there's a separating. And we are separating those who know the truth and those who don't. Those who are ascending to the awareness that we are one, and those who are continuing to descend into the delusion that we're separate and some get to control others. So the game of the ego mind, the game of the delusion, requires that there be winners and losers, haves and have-nots, those who are in charge and those who are not. The ascension is about equality. It's about a recognition that every one of us is a child of the creative source of all that is. No exceptions, none whatsoever. So the more that we move through this bifurcation and more move into the awareness of our oneness, there is going to be a point when there is going to be, I'm going to call it like a breaking point, when the ideas, the thoughts, the lies that we have been taught to perpetuate the idea of separation, of winners and losers, of those in authority and the rest of us who have to listen to them. When we see more of the ways that we have been kept separate from one another, we are going to enter into what I'm going to call a massive opportunity for cognitive dissonance. Those who are believing the lie of separation, that the government has power over us, that the medical establishment knows what's best for our bodies than we do, that the church is the keeper of the doorway to God, that the education system is where we get all of our intelligence, all of our knowledge. When we see that none of that is true, none of it is true, not at all. We are the creators of our own reality. When you have God in you, you are projecting the world that you see. But when you are taught that God is outside of you, you're always looking for something. You're trying to find something to fulfill you because you don't understand the wholeness of who you actually are. So every Wednesday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I offer these complimentary workshops. You can join us. I will promote them here on Facebook for a little while, but eventually we will be moving to a channel called Telegram, which is where we currently are creating the group, the chat group. And I use A Course in Miracles. A Course in Miracles makes it really simple to understand what is of God and what is of the ego. The voice of the ego, that is where all of our delusions come from, have created an illusion of separation. The voice for God, the voice of truth, the voice that Jesus has been teaching to us for many, many thousands of years, that we didn't listen back then, but now the time for listening is upon us, because the separation, the split, I shouldn't call it separation, the ascension is happening, and it is going to create a very clear distinction between those who are aligned to truth and those who are not. Now, it's not a bad thing, because when you understand that you are the creator of your own reality, then you understand that if you descend into the idea that the ego is your master, you have to, through karma, have the experience of the consequence of believing the voice of fear and experience what that is going to create for you. When you're aware that you are the creative source of all that is, fear disappears. That's when fear is no longer running the show for you. In your fearlessness, you return to the truth of who you are, and you see everybody as nothing more than creators of their own reality, experiencing exactly what they need to see in order to recognize, do they listen to the voice of the ego, or do they listen to the voice for God? Everything out here is a mirror of where we are. So for us to know where we are, either you have come inside and you know you project the world. That's an ascended state of consciousness, because now there are no winners or losers. Everybody's equal. Or you believe that the world is out there and it informs you of who you are. That is a state of lower consciousness, because you actually believe that what is real is outside of you. So through the Course in Miracles, I have come to realize how backwards, how upside down my thinking was. And through a 20-year journey of correcting my mind, of really coming to the place that I have been transformed because I have renewed my mind. The Course in Miracles is a course in mind training. I love to help others who are ready to move through the process of ascension with as much ease and peace as possible. This is not going to be an easy time. As a matter of fact, I am predicting a lot of discomfort. I am predicting cognitive dissonance that is going to create fear unlike many on this planet have ever seen. If you are in alignment with the voice for God, you will be guided through the fear. If you're not in alignment with the source of all love, you will be guided by your ego, which means that you will be in a state of fear and confusion and anger and absolute terror. Because when everything that has kept humanity in bondage is exposed, we are either going to see it through the eyes of love and forgive it, recognizing that that was a choice that every single one of us had to make, and some of us chose to go down that deep and some of us chose not to. Or you're going to experience it through the eyes of fear, and you're going to believe that you have been betrayed, that you have been lied to, you're going to be terrorized. And in many cases, you're going to fear terribly that you have made some very bad choices that are now going to be coming up for you to have to deal with some pretty severe consequences. This is not meant to scare you. It is meant to wake you up to what is happening here on the planet. Many who have been attempting to teach this, to share this, have been called conspiracy theorists, have been called all kinds of things. Look at what they did to Jesus. Look at what we've done to wonderful teachers throughout all of humanity. Those are the ones who are made to look like they are fools, and they are burnt at the stake. They're crucified. They are killed and imprisoned. We've had many of those messengers. Today can't stop the message. Therefore, there are thousands, if not millions, of messengers that want to assist humanity through the process of ascension. If I happen to be one of the messengers that you feel connected to, please join me on Wednesdays. It's a free program. I share with you exactly how the Course in Miracles teaches us to align with God, to reclaim our power, to get our voice back, and understand the reality of who we are. Because when you know your truth, nothing real will be threatened. That's when you see the illusion and you realize that it does not exist. That the peace of God comes in the awareness of what is of God and what is of the ego. I hope you join me on Wednesdays. The links are always going to be posted in my website. They're going to be posted in the my YouTube channels. If you look for my classes in Facebook and in the Telegram channel called Ascending with A Course in Miracles, I look forward to sharing with you what I know. I look forward to supporting one another through the ascension process. It is not going to be easy, but the choice is simple. Are you going to believe God and the voice for love, or are you going to believe the ego and the voice for fear? That's it. It's really that simple. The process is not easy, but I attempt to make it as simple and, well, as easy to understand as possible so that you can align with that which wants to liberate you from the sufferings of this 3D world that is so insane and so out of control that it has to implode on itself. It literally has to crumble. And the illusion is about to crumble. Thank you so much for listening to this message, and I look forward to supporting you in your journey. Thanks so much.